Bakken Pipeline Resistance Coalition is a growing grassroots coalition. Right now we have probably about 14 different groups who are part of our coalition. Women Food and Agriculture Network, student groups such as the Drake Environmental Action League, Iowa Sustainable Ag Student Association, groups who are concerned about climate change and climate justice, so Citizens Climate Lobby, Climate Advocates of Iowa, also 100 Grannies for a Livable Future, Alameda County Protectors, and so it's a broad-based group who are concerned about environmental impacts as well as social justice.
With the Sustainable Agriculture Student Association, we're associated with the graduate program in Sustainable Agriculture at Iowa State University. We are concerned about this pipeline as it relates to our interests. Our program is, we're an interdisciplinary group of graduate students. It's going through a lot of land. We're very concerned about soil and water resources in Iowa.
So today we're coming together for a strategy session. We've invited representatives of all of our various partner groups to come and talk so that we can plan our strategies to stop the pipeline together.
We're here to organize a resistance to the Iowa Bakken pipeline, which actually goes through 4 states, so it's sort of a regional pipeline. And we're here to find a way to stop that pipeline from happening. I'm a member of Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement, as well as Food and Water Watch.
Our people are really excited and glad to hear that these different groups are working together. We know that we need to present a united front because oil companies are very powerful, they have a lot of money, and we know that we need to have a collective social movement to stop this pipeline in Iowa.
We're concerned about what the pipeline is going to do simply as it's being built, or any leaks, whether they be small or large, what that means for the landscape in general and for Iowa farmers and agricultural interests. We also have a lot of interest in what's happening in the Bakken oil field.
And it's personally an important issue for me because I think climate change is one of the most important issues of our time, and if we can keep these expensive to extract oils in the ground as long as we can, we avoid producing the emissions that will most likely push us over the threshold of air erosion.
Environmentally, but as a social concern as well, we have a lot of human trafficking going on. The pipelines and the carbon economy, it just brings all of this, so many issues together.
I understand that energy independence is really important for the United States, but the Bakken oil is not the way to go with that. Bakken oil is expensive to extract in dollars and in carbon. It's also a highly explosive, volatile form of oil. It really doesn't pay to be moving that around by rail or by pipeline. We just should not be extracting this oil, in my opinion.
Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club, and I'm the attorney for the group. And the Sierra Club's overriding concern about this pipeline is that it contributes to climate change. We need to keep the carbon in the ground if we're going to actually defeat climate change and reverse the tragic impacts that we've already seen and will see more of in the future. And if we keep drilling the oil and relying on fossil fuels, we're not going to get to where we need to be.
I really think taking action to protect our soil is important. We're all interested in agriculture in some way, and we see the oil pipeline as going against what we believe in as protecting our soil and protecting our landscape in Iowa. Going against what we think as an effort to decrease our reliance on fossil fuels. This isn't helping us at all in that regard, and as we think we need to move forward in decreasing that reliance, this is simply increasing the reliance on fossil fuel. Say first educate yourself. You can come talk to us as a coalition. We would love to talk to anyone who's interested in this. I would say go beyond what people or the news might be presenting. We need to dig deeper and find out what the truth is behind this.
Impact to communities, the destruction that it's causing in the Bakken region, also the social costs of this oil. So we're concerned about the reports about human trafficking and the impact of this upon indigenous communities in North Dakota. We're also a group that advocates on behalf of healthy farming and sustainable agriculture, and we know that investing further in the oil economy is not the direction we need to go to have a more sustainable agricultural system. We're standing with farmers and with landowners here in Iowa, as well as those who have been impacted negatively in North Dakota, to stop this pipeline.
Our big concern here is this pipeline just enables our addiction to oil. The way they get the oil is by fracking, and that impacts groundwater, releases methane that's even a more potent greenhouse gas than CO2 is. And as far as Iowa itself is concerned, Iowa gets no benefit from this pipeline. Pipelines leak, they cause terrible damage when they leak, and it impacts farmland. Experts have said that if there's an oil leak, it's just going to destroy the crops for several years. You can't grow anything on that kind of land. And the landowners are subject to eminent domain. They can have their property forcibly taken from them. They get paid for it, but probably not nearly enough. We think there's just a better way to do it in terms of renewable energy and energy efficiency, and we just somehow don't get it done because the fossil fuel industry has so much political clout. Iowa gets no benefit from this pipeline. The oil is going to go to the Gulf of Mexico, be refined there, and it's going to be shipped overseas. And as far as the jobs and the economic benefit alleged by the project, economic experts have said that those are way overblown, that these are temporary construction jobs, and there are better jobs in the renewable energy industry. And there's only 12 to 15 permanent jobs, even under the best scenario for Iowa from this project.
One of the biggest concerns of my lifetime is global climate change and the sustainability of the planet. To me, this pipeline has a global impact, and as a father, I want to make sure that we're providing a future for our children and their children on down the line. So it's pretty big in that regard. It doesn't get much bigger than that in my mind, but there's a lot of reasons that this pipeline is bad, and it really doesn't present much in the way of good for Iowa. And it really enables the exploitation of the Bakken oil region to continue, and it needs to stop.
So the national news reports are full of stories about how the Bakken region is being slowed down by these lower oil prices. But we know that before the holidays, Obama's administration relaxed regulations on export of minimally processed crude oil. And so any indication shows that the oil companies are going to continue to try to push to sell their product wherever they can at the highest price. We also know that it's a really short build if they wanted to create a pipeline from the Bakken region to the Alberta tar sands. And so we're concerned about this pipeline's future, knowing that it might not just be restricted to transporting Bakken crude oil, but that it might be also something that could potentially be used to transport oil from the tar sands. And so we're thinking long-term about this, and our strategy is long-term.
There's a lot of misinformation out there
Such as?
being pushed. Well, they just had hearings in December with that were primarily geared toward landowners, but many contradictions were pushed forth by ETP, who's Energy Transfer Partners, the company pushing this pipeline. If they can't give us straight answers in these informational meetings, it makes you wonder really if they have any regard for what Iowans have at stake in this project. It seems like they're pretty focused on one motivation, and that's their profit and what's good for their stakeholders, not what's good for Iowans. Those things seem really just like a sales pitch in order for them to push what they want to see happen, which is more profits to their bottom line at the expense of everybody else and the planet.
Very excited to have him.